juicy cup. Just crack a smile and fill it up. Fill it up.
Welcome to After the Final Pour, brought to you by The Malting Hour. I am one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And for a consecutive 5th week in a row.
Did you really count?
I just did right now.
Danny.
Oh, actually 6th week. Howard. Oh, fuck, 7. I'm going through Christmas. I'm going through...
I can't remember the last time I missed one.
You haven't missed one in a long time. Oh, boy. Silly of me to even count at this point, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Dan, this is an After the Final Pour that I specifically got because of you. Because you are the Saison man. And you have talked also about numerous times. And so when I saw this bottle from Was, I thought, let's do it. It's the year of being nicer to Dan, which on the last episode, I was pretty nice. I was pretty good. So I figured let's really top this off. Let's put a cherry on top of this, this first half of the month with an Was. What are we drinking?
Very good. So this is...
By the way, Dan does have a little tiny dry cough. Don't freak out.
I had it the last episode. It just never happened.
He's going to try and not cough on mic. But if he does, it happens.
Yeah. So this is This and That. It's a collaboration with Afterthought, which is out in... I'm blanking right now, but out in the western suburbs.
You said it earlier. Yes, I don't remember what it is.
I forgot right now.
I forgot.
It is built on a foundation of Sugar Creek, which is a malter, I guess you would call it.
Lombard,
yeah, Lombard. Sugar
built
Creek,
on a Lombard, yes.
Wind malt, and triticale. So wind malt, though, is where it's like, instead of roasting it to dry the malt out, they use the wind to do it. So it gives a little different flavor profile.
Yeah, for sure.
Wind malt... Oh, actually, I didn't even realize it said this here. Wind malt uses a traditional Belgian method for making malt where the barley is dried by the sun and wind after it is germinated rather than by artificial heating methods.
Sick.
The resulting malt is beautifully unique and has a much more grassy character compared to conventional kilned malts. The beer has notes of freshly cut grass, peaches, cucumber, muskmelon, juicy fruit gum, white pepper, and wet hay. And it is... production time is 12 weeks. Ooh. It was fermented in stainless steel and was released in October 2022. I do know, so a lot of times with Was, they'll do like a regular version and then they'll do the Brettanomyces condition version. That this is the Brett version. And Afterthought's version, so they brew the beer together and then Was pitches their yeast. And then Afterthought pitches their yeast. And I know Afterthought also aged some of theirs in gin barrels.
Ooh, I can see that with this beer because, as you guys can see, I filled it the same way you guys did, and I'm almost done.
I haven't even taken a sip.
It is... I want to know what you're going to say about it first, because I'm going to grab the bottle and pour a little bit more.
The Brett is like very...
The Brett is strong with this one.
Yeah.
What's funny is when you were reading the description, you said something about juicy fruit, and I'm like, yeah,
it's going to move you. It chews so soft, it just gets right through you.
I get it. I like it.
I could have easily just drank this bottle by myself without you guys. It is... When you're reading the descriptors, it was like the first part of like me drinking it. It's really nice. Like, it's really like...
light and refreshing.
Yeah. It's like... and I don't... Maybe this isn't the right word. It's like a light, delicate beer. Yeah, delicate. There's nothing... like, everything that you read about it, though, I mean, there's obviously like a lot that goes into this beer. But what you get out of it is something that is just a nice, easy drinking, tasty, refreshing beer.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's power of suggestion, but when I take a sip, I'm like, yeah, I do get the grassiness. Yeah, I do get the cucumber.
Yeah, the grassiness, the melon, and it's everything's subtle. It's not like when we said juicy fruit, it's not like, oh, boom, there it is. Like, so you're chewing a fucking stick of juicy fruit. Yeah. No, I'm talking about juicy fruit.
So
like actual fruit.
I hope to have Mike, the head brewer, on the show soon. And he always talks about, like, he like has a philosophy about beer, and it's like this like esoteric, like, he's really into it. And so, and I think it comes through, it's like in an artistry's form. It's like, it's not like he's pumping stuff out that is selling like out the wazoo. He's making like
bank
money over, crazy, but it's like something he's passionate about, and I think it shows in a lot of his beers.
With this right here, like this particular beer is, I feel like, again, it's kind of one of those beers I feel like you can give to a lot of people who might just drink, standard, big beer all the time, and give them some of this, and they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is good. And then it wouldn't be anything. And that's not a knock at the beer. I'm not saying it's a simple beer, but it is a beer that I think can extend and reach to like different audiences of beer drinkers.
The only thing, I love Brett in beers, and one of my favorite beers is their Will Be, which is like their I'm liking like flagship beer, and they do it with like without Brett and with Brett. The Brett's my favorite version of that. I love Brett in beers. I could see people being thrown off by that because it has that like what people say like horse blanket, like barnyardy kind of funk, and not in a funk like in a sour way, a funk in like a dry saison way. But I love it. I know some people that I've given stuff like that to like don't like that. But
It's funny because there's so many different types of like quote unquote funks in different like beers and everything. Like this to me, I don't get like I get the Brett, but I don't get like there's not a funkiness. It's like not like when I think of like when I say something's funky, like it's over the top, and not in a bad way. But I mean like, but this is like this is like a very like earthy.
Yeah, earthy. Yeah, it's not like so. Sometimes when you say funk, you're like thinking like blue cheese or like that kind of like funk. It's not that. It's like an earthy funk.
Yeah, it's really nice, man. It's a really nice beer. Brandon?
And I feel like that's true to the style almost. And like I said earlier, you were reading the description, it said juicy fruit, and I'm like, in my head I was thinking gum, and I was like, it reminds me kind of like subtly of like the fruit flavor of like juicy fruit gum. And that's just like it got stuck in my head, and I'm like, that's what I was noticing. But it's dry. It's dry and juicy at the same time. So kind of going off like we just did an episode about Belgians. It's kind of teetering in that world too. But I like how clean and crisp it finishes, and the funkiness of it is just so like subtle and throughout the beer. Like it's not just like you take a sip, you get it in the front. It lingers in the best way possible, I think.
And I think that I might have the gin barrel aged one still in my fridge.
What?
I think
This I can imagine like when we had the gin barrel aged week beer from Off Color.
Yeah.
I would love to have this as a gin barrel aged beer if you have it.
But
here it is.
So again, the Afterthought one was pitched with their house yeast. Afterthought's beers lean more acidic than Iswas's.
I'm okay with it.
So it doesn't. You're not gonna have any of the Brett. It's gonna be more sour, like lemony.
I like that
with the gin.
But I like that. I mean, that makes sense to me. Like that having like, and it'd be fun to try that. Basically,
I mean,
Dan, just share the fucking beer with us.
I will. But I love how when he does collaborations, they kind of brew the same beer and then they pitch. Each brewery pitches their own thing or like does their own thing to make it different, and it just shows you. You can have like the same malts, the same hop profile, whatever.
Basically, do the exact same thing until right at the end.
And the yeast like does.
That's one of the cool things about home brewing is that same thing. Like Brandon and I could easily brew the exact same pale ale, and if we pitch, if I pitch like Saf Ale USO5, and he does I think SO4 is the English ale, or I forget what. Like it will be. We can brew it on the same system, like our same setups, do the exact same thing. Even if we just took 10 gallons, right, a 10-gallon batch, and split it then into 5 gallons and pitch different yeast into it, it'll be 2 different beers. Yeast is one of the coolest parts of brewing. Like it really does finish off the beer. Oh my God, we're taking off. This is it. This is the end. It's all right. Just leave it on. It's an after the final pour. You guys don't care about the noise like I do, right?
Yeah, no.
I also want your family to be cold.
I know you said that
I think they're upstairs.
You were craving a sour,
right? No, I was leaning more towards tart, and I didn't really read fully through the description of this beer.
I didn't even say, but it's 4.9%, which is just like
I can't believe it's 4.9. So there is like, Dan, I'm going to use a word that you use sometimes. With it being light, it comes off a little bit aqueous sometimes.
Yeah,
with certain sips.
Yeah.
I love that you've bestowed that. Oh, God.
Oh my! Cut him off.
Guys, I told you I probably shouldn't have done it after the final four.
And this is also. I think he also
Keep your
bottle
glass off
conditions.
there, please.
He also bottle conditions everything.
Was he a fucking Trappist monk? JK.
Yes. Yeah, so because it says naturally carbonated, expect sedimentation, store and chill upright. And I've talked to him before, and it's like, it is funny. I mean, we can get more into this
Humble
if we have him
brag.
on, but the like the education you have to give to the normal beer consumer who's maybe not into saisons and stuff, because his beers could, if you don't like treat them right, explode. Like you could have like a gusher.
That's a lot of bottle conditioned beers. Like you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 2 bottles, back to the Afterthought thing, I've got 2 bottles of Afterthought that I've had for almost 2 years, I think, just kind of sitting there.
Let's crack them open right now.
I mean, we should, sooner rather than later. Probably nice and chilled.
We could do an afterthought show. I think I have at least a couple.
Do we just make an afterthought show?
That's not an afterthought if we just did it.
Was. Wow. All right, Brandon, how many ises out of 5 are you going to give this?
Based on still, I'm 4.1.
4.1. Dan, how many was's are you going to give this?
I'm going to go...
By the way, if Clark was here, I could have done this and that, this or that with him, but he's not.
I'm going to go for 7.
Ooh. All right, cool.
Okay,
cool.
I like it.
I'm going to go with the word this, right?
Yeah,
I'll go
sure.
with that, since Clark would have been that. I'm going to go 4.4. 4.4. 4.4.
Okay.
I feel comfortable with that. Which, to me...
A guy who doesn't necessarily like saisons.
Well, I did not like saisons. I got burnt out on saisons very early in my...
Because a lot of the ones you get at like brew pubs and like the normal breweries make,
That's
they're
not
just it almost tastes like that Belgian yeast. Like you're either getting heavy
Absolutely.
banana, heavy bubblegum, heavy.
It's
clove.
been
But
so long.
they're doing it the easiest way possible.
Yeah,
most
right.
of them.
well, and
This
that's the
is-
thing. I feel like that's what...
This is nuanced.
Yeah, this is very good, and I'm looking forward to having more. And now what I see was out on the shelf. I'm gonna buy it. Was a thought I had. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
telling Tony when I was at a liquor store today, and they had something from Monk's Cafe, and that was I think a Flemish sour.
Yeah, they have a Flemish. It's pretty good. Yeah,
I saw that and I almost bought it, but I already spent too much
I
money.
haven't seen
there,
that in
so.
a long time. Where's? What time is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, but Flemish is a completely different animal.
Oh my god! Sometimes it can be intense, almost like a Flanders Red. It can be intense.
It's like a balsamic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You can cook with it.
yeah, and I feel like those ones too, if they're not stored correctly, they go that route fairly quickly.
Also, we need to do a mystery beer episode soon. Like I've got 2 lined up, ready to go, but I want to do it soon.
2 beers lined up.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta like start thinking.
Gotta see if you can get me and Clark. You can't just pour like Powerade and be like, it's a beer. Dan, always a pleasure, never a chore.
Thank you, and Tony, thank you for grabbing this beer.
Hey man, thanks for turning us on to it. It was fucking awesome. I really did. And there was a rhubarb one that I saw that I was like, ooh, that sounds good. But I liked this. This seemed like a good way to just kind of be straightforward. A little bit of Brett. Let's do it. Let's get it.
I actually just before I got here spent a lot of money through their online store. So
From where?
Hope you didn't buy this.
Is what-
Actually, I hope you bought this. I was gonna say I hope you didn't buy it, but I hope you bought it.
no, I've had this before.
No, buy it again.
Yeah. No, they just came out with beanies.
Like hats.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I got one.
One. Yours is fine right now.
I know.
You just want another one. Another hat.
It's like a mustard yellow kind of color.
Hey, like the band Mustard Plug.
Yeah, mustard plug.
This guy knows it.
That
That's
was a horn.
Brandon. Love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
See you guys on the flip side.
Later.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us individually on social media. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, and on Untapped as BDubDrinksBeer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Ace of Help Chicago, on Twitter, The Ace of Help Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all 3. Dan can be found on Instagram as hip__hops and hip hops on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at the Malting Hour.